we got to start off top with, of course, Jade. We talked about Jade last week when we knew it was happening. It is now official. I made a comment on that podcast. We had a really good discussion. If you haven't heard it, go back to, I think it was 67 episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked about how I felt like it was a seismic shift with Jade going to WWE, the same way it was when Big Show went and Mark Henry went, et cetera, et cetera. And I'll be damned if WWE is not treating it as such. Tuesday, they announced she had signed officially. They put a tweet out, and that tweet was per ESPN, and nothing on the timeline from WWE, it seemed like, was all just Jade. It was Jade all day, every day. She's already out here doing interviews, talking about being in WWE. They got the full court press on. I look at that a couple different ways. I look at it as one, hey, this is the first signing under TKO, so they want to make it a big deal. They also want to show, hey, if you come to WWE and you're a big star, this is what we can do for you. We can roll out the red carpet. Second thing I thought of is this is a direct message to anybody in AEW where their contract is up. There's a lot of contracts up in 2024. If you guys don't know, both ways, WWE and AEW. And this is, hey, if you are worth your weight in gold, you can have something similar. So now that it's official, Rhodesia, of course, we'll start with you. You didn't get a chance to speak on it at all with us and to us about your thoughts on Jade coming to WWE. What's your thoughts on kind of what you've seen on social media and how they've treated her so far? And then, and I also want to get your thoughts on this too, E. In one of her interviews, she said that Cody Rhodes was a really big part of her signing with WWE. She went so far as to say that Cody Rhodes was a top 3 person or a top 3 reason, and he wasn't number 3. I think that speaks volumes. So, Rhodesia, floor is yours. Just tell us about your thoughts about Jade going to WWE, and then E, of course, you being the Cody guy. I want to hear your thoughts on him being, it sounds like, pretty instrumental in maybe giving her that push to, hey, you need to come here.
So Jade is going to absolutely be catapulted to that top tier A+ player at WWE. Coming from AEW, I know on episode 67, you had mentioned something, and I'm not going to get it right, but something along the lines of, do we feel that AEW kind of wasted her? And that's not exactly what you said, but kind of along the sentiment, like, did we take advantage, or did AEW take advantage of Jade as much as they should have or could have?
Yeah, was she maximized?
And to me, I do. I feel in the eyes of AEW, they absolutely maximized Jade. You get somebody who had the Goldberg treatment of being 50+0, holding a whole championship to herself. She was dominant. There was nothing about her that was not dominant. So in the eyes of AEW, I think they did a good job maximizing her there. On the Jade side of things, it didn't really develop her, past being able to be in front of the screen and even having a couple of talking speeches. Other than that, she didn't really learn a lot of the wrestling in ring in front of people. So I think on Jade's side, it didn't maximize her time at AEW, but definitely on AEW side. Again, now coming over to WWE, I am just a tiny bit nervous that there's so much, like you mentioned, the full court press. There is so much energy backing her, as it should be. She looks like $1 billion. I just really hope that she gets what she needs before she gets pushed that far and pushed that high, because that's going to come with a lot of pressure. So I just really hope that she fully takes into it, and everything we've seen on her, even just how disciplined she is with her body, she's going to give it her all. I just don't want her to not live up to her potential. And I believe her potential is so super bright. You talk about faces of WWE, and we always talk about men and men and men. Jade could absolutely be a person who could be the face of WWE. And, she transcends the gender role. So completely happy that she's there. I'm happy that she had her little moment, because I don't think I was here to talk about it, with her in Statlander and the hug. That was so emotional. I mark out for those kind of things, because again, we know this is all passion. So for them to be able to do that in the ring, and I'm talking about her last match on AEW, the videos that we saw on the internet. As far as what social media is talking about, I've been off of social media for 2 weeks. Now, I might have went in for a couple seconds and hit a like or a love or something, but I have no idea what's going on the outside world.
Well, E, I know you've seen it. I'm sure you've been on social media over the last 24 hours since they've officially announced it. So kind of just tell me your thoughts on how much stock they're putting into this signing, and then the Cody Rhodes piece on just how instrumental he is. And you said it on the last pod that, hey, you want Pretty Ricky. I think he's good as gone. She even made a comment in one of her interviews that she did that like Ricky Starks is like one of her best friends. I was like, oh, Ricky's out of here. Damn, Ricky. Like, they might as well squash him and bury him for the next year. I don't know how long his contract's up, but throw him through the mud because that boy's out of here.
Yeah. I actually didn't see all the Jay interviews. I saw like a little clip of her talking about her going to WWE. And it made a lot of sense because we talked about, I believe on Ryan's show, we talked about MJF, right? Should he go to WWE? And I told you guys, I said, yeah, because I don't think that MJF can be the star that he can destined to be in AEW.
Mm-hmm.
I think that going to WWE would put a whole new set of eyes, a global set of eyes on him. And Jay pretty much said the same thing in a little clipping that I saw. She said she felt like she couldn't reach her full potential. She couldn't reach her full maximum level in AEW. She had to get to the big show. I'm paraphrasing. She didn't say this specifically, but she said,
you about right. You about
she
right.
said that already.
She said she couldn't reach her top level in AEW. She had to go to the big show to reach her full potential in the ring and out of the ring. She said she had the Bryan Daniels or whatever. Right, and
she called Daniel Bryan too, which I thought was hilarious. I was like, she's even calling him by his WWE gimmick name.
I'm like, it's like, it seems kind of weird, right? It sounds like she's trying to be respectful of AEW because they did put her on the map. They did put her name out there in the rest of the community, but she's acknowledging like, yo, I think she even said in one interview, this is where she's destined to be.
Yep.
Like, right. So, and I truly believe that. I truly believe that in order for her to be the star that she needs to be, she needs to go to the WWE, right? Because you think about all the guys that came to AEW, they have some homegrown talent, but the big guys like a John Moxley, Chris Jericho, even Malachi Black, Rusev, all these guys made their name in WWE first, and then got to AEW. I think that potentially, Jay's still young. If she wanted to come back to AEW at some point for whatever reason, she can come back and be an even bigger star. So I think she's right. I think this is the right move for her. She even mentioned going down to the PC so she can improve her ring work. And that's going to be phenomenal for her. So she can go, she can learn her craft every day with trainers like a Norman Smiley. Is a lot of the women really talk about Norman Smiley, what he's done for their careers.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to get that from her. And then I didn't hear the Cody thing, but I believe it. I told you guys on another podcast. I think that one of more so than CM Punk, I think that Cody leaving backstage really hurt some of the overall morale. I think they lost some of the leadership when Cody left there. He was really tight.
Yeah.
She said that she misses him, or she missed him because he was somebody that she could go to with questions, with ideas, and like no he would always help her. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that speaks to some of the missing leadership. Which when you and I get like you create relationships, you create personal relationships in any job that you go to, but then there's 3 other EVPs there. Now maybe she was just really comfortable with Cody. I mean, if we think about it, that was her introduction to AEW, was her and Shaq against Brandy and Cody. So I'm sure they have that link, just like Mark Henry has that link to her. But when she said that, I was kind of like, okay. It was just real interesting. When you get a chance to just find some of her interviews, just listen to them, because she never, from any interview I saw, I'm not trying to start shit, but she never once like thanks Tony Khan. She never put Tony Khan over as like a caring boss, which we know he is. But like when I'm listening to her, I'm just like, if you read between the lines, one, I think she knew like, okay, not that I'm being wasted, but I think she kind of felt a little bit like I'm being wasted, to your point about I'm not taking on these top women. She's never had a program with Britt. She never had a program with Thunder Rosa. She never had a program with, any of them, anybody who was in the world title picture. I think that bothered her a little bit. And when you just listen to her talk, a lot of what she was saying, you can just tell like WWE is the opposite of what I'm used to. She made a comment about the PC and how it's state of the art. And she said, because they asked her, like, hey, are you more excited about the state of art weight room, or are you more excited about like the rings where you can like, you know, jump and do flips and this, you know, the cushy stuff? And she's like, absolutely the ring. She's like, I'll say this, I'm not hurting like I usually am when I'm training.
Then she said, my back doesn't hurt anymore.
And it's like, well, we know AEW doesn't have a true legit training facility, but then I think this speaks to, and yes, we know they've only been around for 4 years. I'm not acting like they need to have the exact same amount of resources that the WWE has. But what I will say is, you started talking about everybody that is in AEW that's come from WWE. There are some people that have made their own name and stars that have happened in AEW. Most notably, Orange Cassidy. He was only known on the indies. He's a star. MJF for sure. Absolutely.
MJF, Young Bucks, Cody.
But see, I would argue and say Cody made his name in WWE and New Japan and ROH. Young Bucks made their name in New Japan and ROH. I'm saying
True.
guys
you
who
mean
strictly
in
on the
AEW.
indies, right?
Got you.
Yeah, and Jade, but like other than that, it's not many. And then you start thinking about, okay, how many times have they cooled people off? Warlow. They just we can go down the line. Even right now, Orange Cassidy right now. Yes, I think Orange Cassidy is in a tag match with Hook right at Wrestle Dream, if I'm not mistaken. Which is fun. Okay, cool. It'd be a good match. But we talked about when he dropped his belt, we're like, the run he had, man, his trajectory should be maybe the heavyweight title next. And now he is not even fighting really for a title and kind of dropped a little bit. And I guess so my point of saying all that is, if a wrestler can see the start and stop pushes that they're going through right now in AEW, they see what WWE has done for Jade with the red carpet treatment. She's not going to be the only one. I do think, I think, like I said, I think Starks is out of here. And then today I started really thinking, like, if they don't have MJF locked up yet, I know MJF swears up and down he was not putting pen to paper until January. That's when his contract is up. How does MJF not look at this and say, whew, I know I'm better than Jade on the mic, in the ring right now. If they did this for Jade, and she's going to be an incredible talent, can you imagine what it looks like if for MJF, after having the belt for whatever he's going to have it for, 8-9 months, I don't know where his run is at right now. I think that's just something that like Tony's got to think about. And yeah, they just released 20 people, and a great trade can be Ed shows up Sunday at Wrestle Dream. So then the optics look like, all right, well, Jade went to WWE, Edge went to AEW. We know Mercedes is still coming in. Cool, right? But I just think that, man, I think we're going to be in for some exciting times in 2024.
Like, but you know what? To be honest, man, you know, wrestling is the WWE. Let's just say what it is. Wrestling is the WWE around the world. We associate wrestling with WWE. You think these wrestlers don't think that? Even back when WCW was hot.
Yeah.
WWF was the place that people wanted to go. If you are a wrestler, you aspire to go there. Just as like every fan started there, right? And I know we're looking at what's going on with Jay, but I think it started with Cody. I think when Cody got there and he kept his character, they gave him the push, they made him a big deal. I think that opened a lot of eyes to a lot of people in that company to see how they're going to be treated when they get there too. And now going back to the Cody thing that you asked me about, you know, he's a leader, right? He has a presence about himself. He made a lot of positive relationships. And, you know, you mentioned the Young Bucks and Kenny didn't mention those guys. Everybody in a leadership role isn't a leader. Right? Some people just have that presence about themselves to where they can lead a room, right? Just because you're put in a position doesn't mean that maybe that's your skill set. Cody is obviously somebody who can get people to come to him. He has a high charisma. He's been around for a long time. He's very experienced. He knows what it takes to get to the top. He's proven that, right? Ricky Starks is a Cody guy. Wasn't Ricky Starks at one of the shows? like as one of Cody's
Yeah,
guests,
exactly. Yep.
right?
Mhm.
So Cody has a lot of ties to these guys. He's having conversations with these guys. You know, MJF was in an interview and said, "Hey, a lot of us are friends. We talk to each other all the time, right?" These guys are already putting this thought in their head, and I think it's huge to go back to Jade that the first signing of TKO was Jade Cargill,
Mhm.
right? Black woman, and they rolled out the red carpet for this woman. And I think I know there's a small group. You know, we were talking about in a disc. We saw what happened with Mercedes, but we see also happen with Bianca, right? We see Bobby get treated with respect. So I think times is definitely changing, and for them to put her out there like that, I think this is saying something.
Shouldn't that quiet all this?
And
but
Jade
shouldn't
is
that quiet all this
undeniable.
right here, though?
Which part?
Shouldn't this quiet, seeing how they've treated her already,
Mhm.
day one, quiet anybody who still has a feeling of Black people can't make it in WWE or they don't get there? I mean, I think that would, to me personally, yes, there's still room in everything. There's still room to grow. But to me, that went out the window when we saw how Bianca was treated, the level that the Profits got to, the New Day. I mean, we can go on and on, right? Like what we've seen over the last couple years. They've made
Titus
significant and huge strides. Yeah, Titus O'Neil is another one. When he wasn't slipping and falling going through the ring at the Greatest Royal Rumble, he was good, right?
That was one of my favorite moments. That's one of my favorite wrestling moments.
Yes.
Oh my God. Sorry, Titus. I laughed at you so many times.
Because he didn't hurt himself.
Brought joy to my life.
It's so funny because he didn't hurt himself. Now, if he tore like his Achilles or his ACL, I probably would have still laughed today. I wouldn't have laughed then.
I still be laughing about it. He'd be all right? He would have healed by now.
But the issue was they were saying like he was like a half an inch from hitting the beam under the ring. If he did that, he probably would have killed himself. But man, like Michael Cole was, he couldn't stop laughing. Oh my God!
I can't laugh, y'all. Stop.
Oh my God!
I can't
laugh.
Stop. No laughing on this episode, okay? Just straight
Too
face.
But yeah, no. So I think it's a fantastic deal. I really do. It's funny also just to see the people who are fans of promotions and not the wrestlers. She couldn't have sucked. She couldn't have sucked yesterday, and she's incredible now. She couldn't have been incredible yesterday, and she sucks today. That can't be a thing, guys. Like, come on, figure it out.
Hey, let me say one last thing about with Jade, and Tony and AEW. Like, so one of the great things about Jade is that she looks like a star, right? And she knows how to conduct the interview. This is about her in the future in WWE. So a lot of her compliments are going to be WWE centric, or they should be, especially on a day like today and her being the first signing. Like, I think that she's playing the game quite nicely as far as, all right, I'm here to talk about the company that I'm in right now. Like, right. So I'm thinking the people that are there. And I don't know if I would necessarily will put a lot of shine on my former company. I think she said just enough. And if she wants to send out a tweet later on and thank Tony, I think that would be great. Because at the end of the day, I think the biggest problem with AEW is they're creative. And I think like a Dolph Ziggler, if he goes there, chooses to go there, I think he's very creative. Like Chris Jericho is very creative. They can come up with things of their own and suggestions that can potentially get themselves a push, right? Now, a person like Jay, I'm not sure her creative mind, right? Because she's young in the business. I don't know how many ideas that she had and pitches that she had to kind of create her own storylines, because that's what it really takes in AEW. It's not necessarily that I think that Tony ignores talent. WWE has a writing team that people specifically write storylines and pitches for the Triple H and etc. Right? There's a team of people that are constantly creating and presenting storylines for these guys. Now, we may not see a lot of them, right? They may not all go through, but there's a team that's designed to kind of create stories for these people. AEW doesn't have that. It's one guy and a few other people that are kind of making stories for all the other situations of people.
Well, and it goes back to, and nothing is absolute, right? There are no 100% in anything in the world. So don't take from what I'm about to say as 100%, but it's by far the vast majority. To me, this goes back to WWE knows how to make stars.
Bingo.
And AEW is about the in-ring work and putting together these dream matchups for the fans.
Mhm.
Completely stark different philosophies on how to get from point A to point B. There is no just perfect elixir to get you to how to, get fans invested and how to get people to watch and how to get people to buy tickets. But I think what we are seeing this week with Jade, what we've seen with Cody, what we've seen with Roman, is that stars can carry your promotion. And we see it a little bit with AEW too. But if there's anything that I would want them to kind of look at and take care of, and they're doing some really good things. I think they're starting to get some momentum back. And with Wrestle Dream being a Sunday, if we do get a massive return or, a debut like an Edge or like a Mercedes, that's going to only help. But let's start growing our own. Let's start making our massive stars. They have stars. Britt is a star. They have stars. We don't have to break them down. You guys know what I mean.
I go back to the pillars. I feel that a huge ball was dropped with the pillars.
Darby, he's another one.
You had the 4, and then you add 5 for Britt, Dr. Britt Baker in there. That should have been your superstars. Those should have been your heavy hitters that's going to skyrocket this company. Again, you're not going to be WWE for another 20 years, but that was supposed to be that. And then something happened. And I don't know if it was because of the MJF thing and that kind of fell through. My point is we should have gotten that with the pillars.
Hey, another conversation for another day, but those pillars is cracking.
Yeah.
Those pillars is cracking.
There's no base.
Yep.
All right, we can move on after this. I want to ask you guys about NXT. If you guys even want to look at the card, because maybe she shows up this Saturday on No Mercy. But WWE is where you become a star. AEW is where you go to get creative freedom. I think that is probably the best way to right now talk about the two promotions. Yep. You see, Jericho was having the time of his life. He's tired. He was tired of that WWE machine, right? Where it takes me hours to go talk to Vince, or I'm in a storyline that I know is not working and I don't have much say so because a writer is telling me what I need to say. And yeah, I'm Chris Jericho, so I got a little bit of wiggle room, but I still got to do what this is. Opposed to AEW, not that he can just do whatever he wants to. He's not on the creative team, but his word, as it should, he's been in the business for 30 plus years, has a lot of weight. So if he says, hey, I think this is a good idea, maybe Tony listens to him a little bit more than what the WWE machine does. With Edge, he is going to be a pig in slop in AEW on his run because he knows the business like the back of his hand. So imagine what him and Christians be able to do and whoever he works with. Dolph Ziggler, to your point, imagine the programs that he can come up in his mind and really creatively start fulfilling what he has not had in over a decade plus in WWE. Yeah. So they both have their reasons.
Because he's a comedian too. He's a comedian, so he has to be very creative.
Yeah. So I like where they both are. You just look at this, you can see where there's differences. Just what will we see this week with Jade?
I'll go one step further on that real quick, Matt. Yeah, you mentioned you get that creative freedom in AEW. I can also see somebody coming up because there's different trajectories when it comes to being a wrestler, get into the independent business and trying to go to the big leagues. You could even start at AEW. Then when you hit your prime, go to WWE and then finish off your career back at AEW. So where you were saying, hey, you could have been in WWE and then come to AEW afterwards, you could also even start in AEW. Now, again, are you going to get the same development that you're going to get over in WWE? Hell no. Not by a long shot. But you look at people like here in the Chicago area, there's a lot of independent wrestlers. I'm seeing them working with AEW. They're not working. It's like Evolve doesn't exist anymore where that they were working with WWE because ever since they got the Performance Center, that's been their pickings of wrestlers. So I can see people going to AEW, kind of get hot, your Sky Blues, people like that. Dante Martin, is that his name? That's his name. He's still hurt though. Hopefully he recovers fast. But you got those people. I can see them starting helly strong in AEW when their contract is up. I.e. Jade. Come on over to WWE, stay there, blow up, make a lot of money. And then when you feel like, hey, I don't want to let go of this wrestling thing, but I can't, commit to what's going on over here as far as WWE, go ahead, go to AEW.
And there's goals too, right? Like, what is your goal? I'm sure Jade wants to be a household name
worldwide,
everywhere. I think she wants, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever. I think Jade would be good if I got to work 7 days a week, 16 hours a day, everywhere. Hollywood, shooting commercials. I want to do it. There's some people who's like, you know what? No, I want to work the 1 or 2 days a week, put on banger of matches, be able to have creative freedom because all I care about is wrestling, and AEW is just good for me because the money's going to be there, right? Like, I don't think there's going to be anybody from an AEW perspective that is going to walk from AEW because they weren't getting paid enough. We've already heard the stories. I mean, hell, once again, Edge, they said that there was allegedly a contract for WWE and they didn't meet his demand. You know, I think with Triple H and Nick Khan and this team, they're probably really looking at ROI, return on investment. Okay, if we pay this person this much, are we going to get this back? And I don't think Tony's like that. I think Tony's like, absolutely come onto the roster. I can use you. We can make awesome dream matches for the fans. Let's do it. And he's going to make enough money. So, like, the money aspect, I don't think will be a problem. But I think it's goals. Whatever your goal is, probably kind of points to where you want to be at. So, this weekend, is there any chance we see Jade show up at No Mercy?
I hope so. That's my dream scenario. I told you before on the pod a couple days ago that I would love for Jade to show up and squash Becky for the NXT Women's Championship. Work there for maybe 6 months at least, just so she can be in the PC, getting her reps. And here's the thing: just like Becky is popping up on, Raw, etc., Jade can pop up on Raw or SmackDown with the championship. Cut a promo, do a video package, whatever the case may be. Like, what I would do with her, I would have her be a presence, like, right on those shows, and they can even go as far as doing something like like as a bidding war for Raw versus SmackDown, like for who's going to get Jade, right? Mm-hmm. And Jade's just taking her time, making her decision. She was like, no, I'm killing it down here in NXT. I'm going to be the championship. She just kind of shows up and almost kind of like oh man, what was the wrestler? I think it might have been, was it Macho Man back in the day where he showed up on WWF television and all the managers were kind of like buying for like his services.
I don't remember who it was, but I do remember that. That was a good gimmick too.
Yeah, like, that's kind of what it is that, she shows up and on Raw and SmackDown, they're kind of like just buying for her services. She kind of comes on there and just shows, just gets on the microphone, shows her presence, maybe it's a video package, that kind of thing. But if you want to see her wrestle, you're going to see it on NXT. And I would never have her wrestle all the time on NXT. I'll have her at the takeovers and or big matches at NXT.
Rhodesia, can you pay somebody millions of dollars, though, have this type of rollout of they have signed a multi-year deal with WWE, and then you have them stationed to NXT for 3 to 6 months?
So glad you asked that question in that particular way, because I was writing some things down. To me, when Jade was announced or the rumors was happening that she was coming to WWE, in my mind, you had to go to main card to that exact point of you're about to get paid more than likely. We know she's probably getting paid a lot of money, the multi-year contract. You can't put her there in NXT if you're paying her all this money. But just like how you mentioned, Matt, either last episode or the episode before, I think if we bring her straight to WWE main card, development-wise, she's no different than what she was when she was in AEW. She hasn't gotten the reps in that she needed to get in before she's back in the super limelight.
So, stop right there, though. But to play devil's advocate and remember your thought, she's at the PC now. She's getting the reps in, like, today. So she doesn't have to be on NXT to be down in the PC. So say if she goes to either Raw or SmackDown, that's 1 day a week. She can still be down at the PC on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Say no matter she works Monday or Friday. Mm-hmm. Okay, hey, either you work Monday or you work Friday, but you're still at the PC Tuesday through Thursday. Getting those reps in, all that kind of stuff.
That's a good point, because AEW doesn't have that kind of center for people to work on. But I still would want her to be in NXT first. You mentioned a couple episodes ago that, or even last episode, NXT is, we know that this is the developmental. So we're going to give you certain freedoms. We're going to allow you to be corny, cheesy, hooky, hokey, whatever he said. As far as hooky
this is
hokey,
episode 69. Where the hookies at?
Yeah,
Shout out to the hookies out there. Just making a
money.
living.
Seriously, it's almost a recession. Anyways,